Hello and welcome to Sound of Sport TV. We're live 24/7, 7 days a week bringing you the latest sports news, highlights, and sporty music, tracks, and videos. Our team of human and AI anchors are here to keep you updated on all the action, from football to basketball, and everything in between. Enjoy the show.
Sound of Sport TV. Roundup Day 15. Let's go, the weekly roundup sounds good. Ipswich Town 0-1 Crystal Palace. A narrow victory for Palace, keeping Ipswich at the bottom of the table. Newcastle United 3-3 Liverpool. A thrilling draw with both teams exchanging goals in a high-paced match. Southampton 1-5 Chelsea. Chelsea dominated, capitalizing on Southampton's defensive frailties. Manchester City 3-0 Nottingham Forest. City secured a comfortable win to maintain pressure at the top of the table. Arsenal 2-0 Manchester United. Arsenal continued their strong form with a solid victory over United. Leicester City 3-1 West Ham United. Leicester took control of the match with an impressive performance. Aston Villa vs Brentford. Match details not provided in the results. Fulham vs Brighton and Hove Albion. Match details not provided in the results. AFC Bournemouth vs Tottenham Hotspur. The weekly roundup sounds good. The weekly roundup sounds good. Came for Team 24-25 season, Saturday, December 7, 2024. Aston Villa 1-0 Southampton. Aston Villa secured a narrow victory with a single goal. Brentford 4-2 Newcastle. Brentford showcased their attacking strength in a high-scoring match. Crystal Palace 2-2 Manchester City, a competitive draw where both teams shared the points. Manchester United 2-3 Nottingham Forest. Nottingham Forest pulled off an upset with a thrilling away win Sunday, December 8, 2024. Fulham 1-1 Arsenal. Arsenal dropped points in a frustrating draw against Fulham. Ipswich Town 1-2 Bournemouth. Bournemouth came from behind to secure a vital away win. Leicester City 2-2 Brighton. Both teams fought hard, resulting in a stalemate. Tottenham Hotspur 3-4 Chelsea in a dramatic London derby. Chelsea came back from 2 goals down to win. West Ham United 2-1 Wolverhampton Wanderers. West Ham secured 3 points at home with a solid performance. This round of matches featured exciting contest and significant implications for the league standings as teams continue to fight for crucial points. Thank you for locking in the Sound of Sport TV. The weekly roundup sounds good.
Sounds of the past and future.
All right, so let's fucking unpack this whole Man City FFP shit show, eh? It's like these guys are always in some kind of drama. Back in 2020, remember, they got hit with that Champions League ban for like breaking financial fair play rules or whatever. But then the Court of Arbitration for Sport, CAS, overturned it.
Yeah, but there's more to it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, seems like UEFA had some fresh evidence, you know? Could have, like, blown the whole thing wide open.
Mm.
But they didn't even try to appeal the CAS decision.
So they just sat on some damning evidence. The fuck?
Yeah, so this evidence, it came from leaked emails, right? Published by Der Spiegel back in July 2020.
Oh, right after the CAS ruling.
Exactly, and those emails, they raised some serious fucking questions about that Etihad sponsorship deal with Man City. Remember what UEFA initially said?
They said that City's owner, that Abu Dhabi United Group or whatever, ADUG, was funneling money through Etihad, making it look like sponsorships to get around FFP.
Exactly, but CAS, they tossed out UEFA's claims about those Etihad payments.
Why? What was their reasoning?
They said they were time-barred.
What the fuck is time barred?
Basically, it means they happened too long ago to be considered in the case.
What? So, like, even if it's relevant, if it's from before a certain date, it's no good.
Yeah, pretty much.
That sounds like a fucking loophole if I ever heard one.
It's complicated, legally speaking, but yeah, UEFA was limited with the evidence they could use. But, get this, legal experts said they could have appealed to the Swiss courts using the content of the emails, but they chose not to.
So they had another chance to go after City, but just let it slide? Are you kidding me? What a bunch of incompetent assholes.
Yeah, it's a decision that has raised some eyebrows, especially now with everything else going on.
Okay, so let's get up to speed. What's happening now with Man City and all this FFP bullshit?
Well, right now, the Premier League is doing its own investigation. Over 100 alleged FFP breaches. And guess what? They have access to those same leaked emails that UEFA just ignored.
Shit, so City might actually be in deep shit this time.
Yeah, those emails don't look good for them. There's one email supposedly shows Simon Pierce. He was a city director, but he also had some position with the Abu Dhabi government. And the email shows him discussing some shady financial shit with Etihad.
Hold up, so this dude's a director for City, but he's also working for the Abu Dhabi government. Isn't that a conflict of interest?
It definitely makes those sponsorship deals look a little suspicious.
Yeah, that's some shady shit. And isn't the whole point of FFP to stop owners from just dumping cash into their clubs?
Exactly. It's supposed to be legitimate income.
Right, right. So what do these emails actually say?
Well, one suggests that only a small part of that sponsorship money actually came from Etihad.
So where was the rest of the cash coming from?
Possibly from ADUG.
So they were trying to make it look like Etihad was paying way more than they really were.
That's the accusation, yeah.
And if the Premier League actually finds them guilty of this, what kind of consequences are we talking about here?
Could be serious, man. Points deductions, huge fines. They could even get kicked out of the Premier League.
Whoa, hold on. Kicked out? You mean like gone?
It's rare, but it's possible if the Premier League thinks it's serious enough. Look what happened to Juventus last season in Serie A. They got hit with a 15-point deduction. Fucked up their whole season.
Ouch. Yeah, that's brutal. So this whole thing could really shake things up in the Premier League. But hasn't Man City denied everything? They're usually pretty quick to defend themselves, right?
Well, yeah, absolutely. They're saying they didn't do anything wrong. All their money stuff is above board.
Yeah, of course they'd say that, but come on, those leaked emails don't exactly make them look innocent, do they?
Not really, no. And you know, the Premier League has been investigating this for a while now.
How long?
The hearing just finished last week, actually, so they've had a lot of time to build their case.
So now we just wait for the verdict.
Yeah, it's a nail-biter for sure.
What happens if they actually decide to punish City? Like, really punish them?
Well, like I said, the consequences could be huge. Points deductions could shake up the whole table, not just for City, but for other teams fighting for titles or European spots.
Right.
And fines, even massive ones, probably wouldn't hurt City that much. They're loaded. But expulsion, man, that would change everything. I don't think the Premier League would actually do it, though.
Yeah, that would be insane.
Yeah.
But you gotta admit, it'd be pretty fucking entertaining, wouldn't
Yeah.
it? All the drama and chaos, like a football apocalypse or something.
It would be huge, for sure. But this isn't just about entertainment, you know? It's about the integrity of the sport, making sure it's fair for everyone.
Yeah, you're right. It's easy to get caught up in the drama. But this is serious shit. We're talking about the future of one of the biggest clubs in the world here, and whatever happens could impact the whole footballing world.
Absolutely, and that's why we're doing this deep dive, to understand what the hell is going on and what it means for the future of the sport.
Good point. So let's dive deeper into this mess then.
This whole Man City thing just shows you how fucked up football is when it comes to money and fair play.
No shit, right. It's like they don't belong in the same sentence. You got these billionaires just chucking their cash around like it's nothing. And then FFP is supposed to level the playing field. What a joke.
Yeah, it's a tough one. I mean, on one hand, You could say these rich owners are investing in the game, right?
Mm-hmm.
Improving infrastructure, bringing in more talent.
Yeah, better stadiums, training facilities, big-name players. It's got to be good for the fans, right? For the game itself.
Right. But on the other hand, if you let these guys just spend whatever they want, it totally unbalances everything.
It's like one kid rocking up to the racetrack in a Ferrari and everyone else is stuck with a beat-up Honda Civic. It's not a fair race at all.
Exactly. And it's not just about individual matches. If one club can always spend more than anyone else, they can hoard all the best players, build a team that's basically unbeatable.
You know, like PSG, look at them. Dominating French football for years.
Yeah.
It's kind of boring, to be honest. Where's the excitement? Where's the surprise?
Exactly. That's what makes sports so exciting, the chance for an underdog to come out of nowhere and upset the big guys.
You need that element of surprise. So FFP is supposed to protect that, right? At least in theory. But is it actually working?
That's the big question, isn't it? And honestly, probably not that well. If these accusations about City are true, it shows you there are still ways for these clubs to bend the rules or just break them.
So they found a way to cheat the system, basically, making those Etihad deals look legit when they weren't.
That's what it looks like, yeah.
So is the problem that FFP is just too complicated? Too easy to get around?
Yeah, that's one of the biggest criticisms. The rules are so fucking complex, and some say the punishments aren't harsh enough. These clubs aren't scared to push the boundaries.
So we've got this system that's supposed to be protecting financial fair play, but it's just a toothless dog, all bark, no bite. What can we do to actually make it work?
Well, there's a lot of ideas out there. Some people want stricter rules, more transparency, and harsher punishments.
Yeah, hit them where it hurts. Dock them 30 points or ban them from Europe for a couple of seasons. That might make them think twice.
Right. Some even think we need to scrap the whole system and start from scratch with something completely new.
All right, let's get radical. What kind of ideas are we talking about?
Well, one that's gaining some traction is a salary cap. Like they have in American sports, the NBA, NFL, all that.
A salary cap.
Yeah.
So like a limit on how much clubs can spend on their players' wages.
Exactly. No more of these insane contracts. It would level the playing field.
Sounds good in theory, but how the fuck would you implement that across all the different leagues in Europe? Each country has its own rules and regulations. It'd be a logistical nightmare.
Yeah, it wouldn't be easy, that's for sure.
So what else is on the table?
Another idea is a luxury tax.
What's that then?
So basically, clubs that spend over a certain limit would have to pay a tax. A penalty for being too rich, if you like.
I kind of like that. But what happens to that money?
It could be given to smaller clubs or invested in youth development programs.
So it's like Robin Hood, taking from the rich, giving to the poor. I like it.
Yeah, could be a way to close that gap between the top clubs and everyone else, make the game more competitive.
These ideas sound good, but let's be real, they're pretty damn complicated to actually put into practice.
Definitely, and there's no guarantee that any one solution is going to fix everything. The main thing is to find a way to encourage investment in the game, but make sure everyone is playing by the same rules.
Yeah, it's a tough one for sure. So where does this leave us? What's the future of FFP?
We gotta wait and see. Everyone's waiting to see what happens with this Man City case, what direction FFP is gonna take.
So we're just stuck in limbo.
Pretty much. This whole thing with City could be a turning point. If they're found guilty and really get punished, it could force a major rethink of the rules.
Like, we're at a crossroads. One path leads to stricter rules, a level playing field. The other leads to even bigger differences between the rich and the poor.
Exactly. The decisions they make now will determine the future of football. Will it be all about money, or will it be about competition and fair play?
Deep shit, man. This whole deep dive into FFP has been a real eye-opener. It's way more complicated than I thought.
It's definitely not simple, but it's important that we keep talking about it, keep an eye on the financial side of the game. We can't let the love of football get lost because of money and unfair advantages.
Couldn't agree more. All right, I think we've covered a lot here. All right, so let's wrap this shit up, this deep dive into Man City and this whole FFP mess. We've talked about UEFA dropping the ball on that appeal, those leaked emails, and the Premier League still trying to figure out what the hell is going on.
Yeah, it's been a wild ride, hasn't it? Makes you wonder about the future of football, you know? If a club like City, with all their money and lawyers, can find ways to get around the rules, what hope is there for the smaller clubs?
Exactly. It's like they're playing a different game altogether, one where the rules don't really apply to them. How can you have fair competition like that?
Right. One of the main ideas behind FFP was to stop clubs from racking up massive debt and to try to make things a bit more even. But if the rules aren't strong enough, or they just don't enforce them properly, it just makes the gap between the rich and the poor even bigger.
It's like a vicious cycle, right? The clubs with the deepest pockets can hire the best people to find loopholes while everyone else is just trying to survive.
Exactly. That's one of the big criticisms of FFP. It's supposed to make things fair, but some people think it just helps the rich stay on top.
So what's the answer then? We talked about some possible changes like those salary caps and luxury taxes. But can they actually make those work?
It's hard to say, man. It wouldn't be easy to make such big changes, especially across all the different leagues and countries. But the fact that they're even talking about it shows you that people are starting to realize that something's got to change.
It feels like we're at some kind of tipping point, doesn't it?
Yeah.
What happens with this Man City investigation could change everything. If they get hit with a big punishment, it could force a serious rethink of all these FFP rules.
Yeah, this case is a big deal. But even beyond that, we got to keep talking about this, about financial fairness in football. It's not just about the rules, it's about what we want the sport to be about.
Absolutely. Do we want to see football become a playground for billionaires, where money is the only thing that matters? Or do we want a sport where any team, rich or poor, can have a shot at winning?
That's the question we need to be asking ourselves, right? It's a question for the fans, the players, the owners, everyone.
It's like we're at a crossroads, and the path we choose now will shape the future of the game.
Well put. And as we've seen with this Man City case, these are tough choices, complex choices. But we can't just ignore them. We need to keep asking the hard questions, demanding more transparency, and pushing for changes that protect the game we love.
You said it. This deep dive has been a real eye-opener for me. I've learned a ton, and it's definitely given me a lot to think about. Thanks for breaking it all down for us.
Happy to do it. And remember, the conversation doesn't end here. Keep those questions coming, and let's keep fighting for a fairer, more competitive future for football. We all love the beautiful game, and we need to protect it from these money-grubbing cunts.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Thanks for tuning in to the deep dive, and we'll catch you next time. Peace out.
Sounds of the past and future.
Artificial intelligence is transforming the English Premier League, offering teams a significant competitive advantage. AI-powered tools analyze player performance, predict outcomes, prevent injuries, and enhance fan engagement. This includes using AI for tactical analysis, player recruitment, and even managing match draws. While there are limitations and ethical concerns regarding data bias and resource disparity, AI's impact on the Premier League is substantial and likely create technology empowers teams to make data-driven decisions to be improve performance and a more engaging fan experience. Artificial intelligence is transforming the English Premier League, offering teams a significant competitive advantage. AI-powered tools analyze player performance, predict outcomes, prevent injuries, and enhance fan engagement. Substantial and likely to grow. The telemessaging empowers teams to make data-driven decisions, leading to improved performance and a more engaging fan experience. Artificial intelligence is transforming the English Premier League, offering teams a significant competitive advantage. AI-powered tools analyze player performance, predict outcomes, prevent injuries, and enhance fan engagement.
Sounds of the past and future.
Premier League Game Week 13 complete. Round up. Here's the full overview of all Game Week 13 matches, including results and key highlights from the weekend's actions. Friday, November 29. Brighton 1-1. Southampton, a late equaliser from Brighton, and rescued a point in a match where both teams struggled to find their rhythm. 12. Saturday, November 30. Brentford 4-1 Leicester City. The Bees stung Leicester with a dominant display, with Bryan Mbeumo stealing the show. Crystal Palace 1-1. Newcastle United, a tight league contested affair, saw both teams share the spoils, though Newcastle will feel they missed chances to grab all 3 points. Nottingham Forest 1-0 Ipswich Town. Forest edged out newly promoted Ipswich in a hard-fought victory thanks to a solitary goal. Wolves 2-4 Bournemouth. A thrilling goal fest as Bournemouth outclassed Wolves, with Dominic Solanke bagging a brace. Leicester 2-5 Arsenal. Arsenal delivered masterclass in attack at the London Stadium, with Martin Odegaard and Bukayo Saka contributing to the ropes. Sunday, December 1. Chelsea 3-0 Aston Villa. Chelsea's resurgence continued with a clinical performance to secure all 3 points at home. Manchester United 4-0 Everton. United delivered their best performance of the season, brushing aside Everton with goals from Bruno Fernandes and Marcus Rashford. Top 1-1 Fulham. Spurs were held at home as Fulham's grit denied them a much-needed win. Liverpool 2-0 Manchester City. In the weekend's blockbuster match, Liverpool took down Manchester City with clinical finishing and a sturdy defensive effort. Title race intensifies. Liverpool's victory over Manchester City gives them an edge in a fiercely competitive title race. Arsenal also showed their class with a dominant win. Chelsea's revival, back-to-back wins. Chelsea looks to be gaining momentum at a critical juncture. Relegation battle heats up. Bournemouth's win over Wolves could prove vital, while Forest continues to grind out a result to stay clear of the drop zone. Let me know if you'd like specific stats or player performances analyzed.
Sounds of the past and future.
A Sound of Sport TV article assesses the precarious Champions League positions of several top teams after match day 5. Real Madrid and Manchester City, despite their reputations, are struggling and face challenging remaining fixtures. Bayern Munich, conversely, is in a comparatively strong position. The article assigns a panic level to each team based on their current standing and upcoming opponents. Finally, the piece provides the Champions League standings and remaining schedules for the featured teams. conversely is in a comparatively strong position. The article assigns a panic level to each team based on their current standing and upcoming opponents. Finally, the piece provides the Champions League standings and remaining schedules for the featured teams. Conversely is in a comparatively strong position. The article assigns a panic level to each team based on their current standing and upcoming opponents. Finally, the piece provides the Champions League standings and remaining schedules for the featured teams. Conversely is in a comparatively strong position. The article assigns a panic level to each team based on their current standing and upcoming opponents. Finally, the piece provides the Champions League standings and remaining schedules for the featured teams. Conversely is in a comparatively strong position. The article assigns a panic level to each team based on their current standing and upcoming opponents. Finally, the piece provides the Champions League standings and remaining schedules for the featured teams.
The featured teams.
The Sound of Sport TV is a 24/7, 365-day-a-year multimedia platform that seamlessly fuses sports and music, built on the pillars of formal, social, comical, educational, and musical content. It delivers real-time updates, athlete playlists, and engaging commentary to keep fans informed, entertained, and inspired around the clock. The Sound of Sport TV is a 24/7, 365-day-a-year multimedia platform that seamlessly fuses sports and music, built on the pillars of formal, social, comical, educational, and musical content. It delivers real-time updates, athlete playlists, and engaging commentary to keep fans informed, entertained, and inspired around the clock. The Sound of Sport TV is a 24/7, 365-day-a-year multimedia platform that seamlessly fuses sports and music, built on the pillars of formal, social, comical, educational, and musical content. It delivers real-time updates, athlete playlists, and engaging commentary to keep fans informed, entertained, and inspired around the clock. The Sound of Sport TV is a 24/7, 365-day-a-year multimedia platform that seamlessly fuses sports and music, built on the pillars of formal, social, comical, educational, and musical content. It delivers real-time updates, athlete playlists. Sport TV is a 24/7, 365-day-a-year multimedia platform that seamlessly fuses sports and music, built on the pillars of formal, social, comical, educational, and musical content. It delivers real-time updates, athlete playlists. The Sound of Sport TV is a 24/7, 365-day-a-year multimedia platform that seamlessly fuses sports and music, built on the pillars of formal, social, comical, educational, and musical content. It delivers real-time updates, athlete playlists, and engaging commentary to keep fans informed, entertained, and inspired around the clock.
Sounds of the past and future.
All right, let's dive in. We're talking Arsenal today. Big changes potentially on the horizon.
Huge, yeah.
Robert Olab possibly becoming their new sporting director,
Potentially, yeah.
which has everyone talking.
Absolutely. I mean, you've got Olab leaving Real Sociedad after smashing it there. And Arsenal, well, they need some fresh thinking, don't they?
They do?
And then there's the whole Alexander Isak thing.
Yeah, the rumor mill's going into overdrive with that one.
Absolutely. It's a fascinating situation, isn't it?
It is. So Olav, he's not just some random name on a list, is he?
No, not at all. He's got serious pedigree. What he did at Real Sociedad, it wasn't just tweaking things here and there. He completely overhauled the club.
Yeah, Real Sociedad revolution. That's what I keep hearing. But what did he actually do? I need the specifics. Give me the details.
Well, for starters, he won them the Copa del Rey back in 2021.
Right.
Which, ended a 34-year trophy drought for them.
Wow.
That alone is massive. But it's more than just the trophy, it's how he did it. Oleb completely changed their style of play. High-pressing, possession-based football. Effective and really entertaining to watch.
Okay, so it wasn't just a fluke cup run.
No, not at all. It was a calculated tactical shift. And you can actually see this in the data. StatsBomb, for example. Real Sociedad were right up there in terms of pressure regains, successful tackles. They weren't just winning, they were dominating opponents, stylistically.
Interesting. And Arsenal have been trying to do something similar under Arteta, haven't they? Possession-based football. Almost feels like their philosophies could be a perfect match.
Exactly. And this tactical shift, it fed into his transfer strategy as well. Oleb was brilliant at finding these undervalued players. Perfect fits for his system.
Give me some examples.
Isak and Marino are the classic cases. Brought them in for relatively low fees, they flourished under his guidance, and then boom, sold for huge profits. It's that classic Moneyball approach. But with a clear tactical vision underpinning it all, smart. That's the kind of shrewdness Arsenal could really use, right? Instead of just throwing money at big names, they could be targeting players who actually fit Arteta's system and have the potential to, grow within it.
Exactly. And there's another thing. Olab, he's big on youth development. Not afraid to give young players a chance.
Right.
And that's a big part of why Real Sociedad have been so successful lately. Lots of academy graduates breaking into the first team.
Now, this is where it gets really interesting for Arsenal fans. Because we've seen glimpses of this with Arteta, haven't we? Players like Saka and Smith Rowe really flourishing.
Absolutely.
But imagine if Oleb comes in and, takes it to the next level, creates this sustainable pipeline of talent from the academy to the first team. That could be a game changer for them in the long run.
It could, yeah. And we have to remember, success doesn't happen overnight. Building a winning team takes time, careful planning, a clear vision, and Oleb seems to have all those qualities. Okay, so we've established that Oleb knows what he's doing. Trophies, sustainable club structure, the whole package. But Arsenal, they have their own issues, don't they? And one that immediately springs to mind. Set pieces.
Ah, yes, the set piece problem. It's been their Achilles heel for years, and it's definitely something Olab would need to address head on. But look, this is a guy who analyzes every single aspect of the game. He'd have a plan.
I hope so. What kind of approach do you think he'd take, though? Because throwing money at the problem, that hasn't worked for them in the past. They've brought in all these specialist coaches, and they still struggle. What would make Olab different?
Well, Olab's not afraid to think outside the box. He's data-driven, loves to experiment with new techniques.
Okay.
For example, at Real Sociedad, he brought in this zonal marking system, combined with very specific player movements designed to exploit the opposition's weaknesses. It was about being smarter, more organized, not just bigger or stronger.
So, a system that maximizes your strengths while exploiting your opponent's weaknesses.
Yeah.
collective intelligence, not just individual brilliance. I like it.
Exactly, and that's where the data comes in. Ole Bay would analyze hours of footage of Arsenal conceding from set pieces, identify the recurring patterns, then design a system to specifically address those issues.
I'm starting to see why Arsenal fans are so excited about this. So even if he doesn't solve all their defensive woes overnight, his analytical approach, his tactical innovation, it can make a huge difference.
Absolutely. And this attention to detail, it runs through everything he does. Recruitment, youth development, on-field tactics, the whole lot.
All right, I'm convinced this guy sounds like the real deal. But before we start fantasizing about potential transfer targets and all that, we need to talk about the elephant in the room, Alexander Isak.
Oh, the Isak connection. It's juicy, isn't it? I mean, he was incredible at Real Sociedad under Ole Bay, developed into a top-class striker before he went to Newcastle for, what was it, like 70 million?
Yeah, something like that. Crazy money.
So naturally, everyone's thinking, Oleb goes to Arsenal, Isak follows, reunion.
It's the dream, isn't it? But let's be realistic for a second. Isak's a fantastic player, no doubt. But do Arsenal really need another striker? They've already got Gabriel Jesus. Wouldn't that money be better spent elsewhere?
That's a good point. You got to think about squad balance and, of course, the finances. Isak's value must have skyrocketed after that Newcastle move.
Exactly. And while Arsenal have been splashing the cash a bit lately, they're not exactly Man City or Newcastle, are they? Could they even afford him?
Olab would have to work his magic, that's for sure. But remember, his expertise goes way beyond just one player.
Right. Okay. So let's zoom out a bit. Forget Isak for a minute. If we look at Olab's transfer philosophy in general, what kind of players does he go for? What are the key things he looks for?
Well, he loves players who are technically gifted, tactically intelligent, comfortable on the ball, can play multiple positions, real high football IQ. Players who can fit into that fluid possession-based system, kind of like what Arteta's trying to build.
The thinking man's footballer, not just athletes, but players who can read the game, make smart decisions.
Exactly. And looking at his past signings, you can see he values versatility, adaptability. Take Mikel Merino, for example. Brought him to Real Sociedad. This guy can play as a deep-lying playmaker, box-to-box, even defensive midfield if needed.
The Swiss Army knife of footballers. So valuable to have a player like that, someone who can slide into any position.
Exactly. And another thing, Olaf's not afraid to scout in those lesser-known leagues. Portugal, Belgium, places where you can find some real gems.
So he's not just looking at the big clubs, the Barcelonas and Real Madrids of the world. He's looking for those hidden talents, the players who might slip under the radar.
Exactly. He's got this knack for finding those undervalued assets. Players who might not have had the same exposure, but have the raw talent to succeed.
This is where it gets exciting, right?
Yeah.
Imagine Olabi unearthing the next Ronaldo or the next Kevin De Bruyne. Signings like that can completely transform a club.
And it's not just about finding them, it's about developing them. Nurturing their talent, integrating them into the squad, building a cohesive team culture. That's what Olab's really good at.
So it's about creating an environment where players can thrive collectively. That's something Arsenal have been missing, haven't they? That sense of unity.
Yeah, for sure. And this is where Olabe's impact could go way beyond just transfers. It's about instilling a philosophy, a way of thinking that permeates the whole club, from the academy all the way up to the first team.
This all sounds amazing, but let's be practical for a minute. Arsenal have a pretty young squad, and some of their key players, their contracts are running out. What do you think Olab would do in those situations? Would he try to keep the experienced guys or focus on building around the younger core?
That's a tough one. It's about finding the right balance, isn't it? He'd have to look at the squad, assess the age profile, make some tough decisions about who to keep, who to sell, who to offer new contracts to. And with a club like Arsenal, the fans, they expect results. So there's that pressure as well.
Right. And it's not always easy to convince top players to join a club that, hasn't been winning trophies lately. How would Olab approach that? What would be his pitch?
He's a very articulate guy, very good communicator. He'd have to sell them on the project, the vision, convince them that Arsenal are on the right track, that there's potential for success.
It's almost like he'd be pitching a startup, isn't it? Trying to get investors on board.
Yeah, kind of. He'd have to convince them that joining Arsenal is not just a good career move, it's an opportunity to be part of something special.
Okay, I'm getting carried away here. But before we get lost in all the possibilities, let's take a step back and talk about the potential challenges Olab might face. At Arsenal, it's easy to get swept up in all the hype. But we have to be realistic. Going from Real Sociedad to Arsenal, That's a big step up, a whole different level of pressure.
It is. The Premier League is a different animal. The competition is fierce, the media scrutiny is intense, and at a club like Arsenal, the expectations are massive.
You mentioned the media, the London tabloids. They're ruthless. Any little mistake, any perceived failure, it's front-page news. How do you think Olev would handle that, coming from a relatively smaller league?
It'll be a steep learning curve, that's for sure. But he seems like a pretty level-headed guy, doesn't get fazed easily, and he's a good communicator. That's important when you're dealing with the English press.
True. But it's not just the media, is it? There's pressure from the fans as well. Arsenal fans, they're passionate, they demand success. They haven't won a league in years. Do you think Olev could handle that?
It's a fair question. But let's not forget, he took over Real Sociedad when they were in a similar position. Proud history, but struggling to live up to it. He changed their mentality, built a winning culture, got them believing again. If he could do it there, I don't see why he couldn't do it at Arsenal.
Good point. But there's also the financial side of things. Arsenal has spent a lot of money lately, but they're still not in the same league as some of those other clubs. Could Olev work with those limitations?
Well, that's where his Moneyball skills would really come into play, wouldn't they? He'd have to be clever, find those bargains. Players who fit the system, who have the potential to become stars, but I think his track record shows he can do it. Build a competitive squad without breaking the bank.
So maybe instead of going after the big names, the superstars, he'd be looking for those hidden gems, the rough diamonds, who could be polished into something special.
Exactly. And that's not to say he wouldn't be able to attract any big names, but the focus would be different. It would be about finding players who are hungry to prove themselves, who buy into the project.
It's like a cultural shift almost, moving away from that Galactico era of just signing big names for huge fees and building a team with a real identity, a team that's greater than the sum of its parts.
That's it. It's about creating a sustainable model for success that doesn't just rely on money. It's about smart recruitment, youth development, and a clear vision for how you want to play.
I like it. So even though there are challenges, Olev seems to have what it takes to overcome them. But the big question is, could he replicate what he did at Real Sociedad? Could he bring Arsenal back to the top?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? There are no guarantees in football. But I think appointing Olev would be a massive statement of intent. He's got the tactical nous, he's a shrewd operator in the transfer market, and he's passionate about developing young players.
It's an exciting prospect, not just for Arsenal fans, but for anyone who loves to see a well-run club with a clear plan for the future.
Absolutely. It'll be fascinating to see how it all plays out.
Well, I think we've covered a lot of ground today. We've looked at Olev's background, his philosophy, the potential impact he could have at Arsenal, and the challenges he might face. It's a story full of intrigue and possibility, and for Arsenal fans, maybe a glimmer of hope.
Yeah, definitely one to watch.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the Robert Olave saga. It's sure to be a topic of much debate and speculation in the coming weeks and months. Let us know what you think. What are your predictions? Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep.
Where the stories unfold, precision, performance, the champions mold. Every stat, every play, the numbers align. Formal yet thrilling, it's sport redefined. Feel the rhythm, hear the roar, the sound of sport forevermore. From the whistle blast to the victory cry, 24 hours of joy under one sky. Ooh, one sky.
Fans from all over, every creed, every race, unite through the passion, the goal, the score. Social connections like never before. Learn the rules, the skills, the game. Legends and tactics, earning the fame. Knowledge flows as the match is played. Educational insights every single day. The booth is alive, the quirky tales. From wacky celebrations to slips and veils. Humor and sport, it brings us near. Moments of laughter we all hold dear. Drums with a heartbeat, chants with the crowd. Music in motion, clear and loud. With harmony soaring, it sets the tone. The sound of sport where we feel at home. same place. Fans from all over, every creed, every race, unite through the passion, the goal, the score. Social connections like never before. Learn the rules, the skills, the game, legends and tactics, earning the fame. Knowledge flows as the matches play, educational insights every single day. The bloopers, the laughs, the court details, from wacky celebrations to slips and veils. Humor in sport, it brings us near. Moments of laughter we all hold dear. Drums of the heartbeat, chants of the crowd, music in motion, clear and loud. With harmony, story, it sets the tone. The sound of sport where we feel at home. Sound of sport where we feel at home. Sound of sport where we feel at home. Sound of sport where we feel at home.
The sound of sport where we feel at home.
One sky.
With the bloopers, the laughs, the court details, from wacky celebrations to slips and veils. Humor in sport, it brings us near.
One sky. Sounds of the past and future.
The 3-Pointers TV, Arsenal versus Bournemouth, G208 Poem. As Bournemouth shores meet Gunner stride, a clash of passion where tactics collide. The vitality hums as Saturday comes, with Arsenal's roar, a thunderous drum. Unbeaten the Gunners, yet injuries bear. Timber and White, will they dare? Zinchenko too, a doubt in the mix. Arteta's puzzle has some tricky picks. Suckers knock, yet hope does bloom. Odegaard absent, yet no sense of doom. For Martinelli's calf, a sigh of care. A Thomas Partey stands ready to dare. The cherries await, but fresh from a fall, while Arsenal stands tall, aiming to enthrall. At the top they glance, just a few points away. With each moment crucial, they must seize the day. A 3-1 prediction is where the heads lean. For Bournemouth's bite may not stay as keen. The Gunners march, the top within sight, ready for war on this autumn night. As Bournemouth shores meet Gunner stride, a clash of passion where tactics collide. The vitality hums as Saturday comes, with Arsenal's roar, a thunderous drum. Unbeaten the Gunners, yet injuries bear. Timber and White, will they dare? Zinchenko too, a doubt in the mix. Arteta's puzzle has some tricky picks. Suckers knock, yet hope does bloom. Odegaard absent, yet no sense of doom. For Martinelli's calf, a sigh of care. But Thomas Partey stands ready to dare. The cherries await, but fresh from a fall, while Arsenal stands tall, aiming to enthrall. At the top they glance, just a few points away. With each moment crucial, they must seize the day. A 3-1 prediction is where the heads lean. For Bournemouth's bite may not stay as keen. The Gunners march, the top within sight, ready for war on this autumn night.
Thanks for tuning in to the Sound of Sport TV, where we bring you the latest sports news and the hottest beats to keep your energy high. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more thrilling updates. Until next time, stay tuned and stay sporty.